I go to sleep every night, and I thank God for the fans that we have and the support that they've given us. And I know there's still a lot of fans we have to win over. I know there's a lot of people out there that are still lurking in the shadows, wishing that things were different. But I'm sure that, after they come and see us play a show, after they hear the album, after they watch this interview and they really get a chance to know who I am, it might be another opportunity for them to have a new perspective.
Jaali of Until I Wake, how are you doing? How are things in Buffalo?
Everything's good. Everything's good. I feel very blessed. I'm grateful to be here. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Now, the release is coming soon. We're 3 weeks away as we're talking. I know you've obviously been on somewhat of a roller coaster with Until I Wake, but this is another milestone. How are you doing right now? You guys have been sitting on this material for a little bit, but as this release is getting closer and you have to do a lot of this press stuff, it becomes real. How are your feelings behind that very, very calm facade?
Honestly, it's not much of a facade. I feel very calm. I feel very, confident that this project is going to do exactly what it's supposed to do. I think that we did exactly what we were supposed to do going into making this project. So at this point, I'm just ready to sit back and kind of enjoy the reward, which is kind of getting to see our fans' reactions. And my biggest thing about making music is I really love to influence people in a positive way. So I'm really excited to sit back and really take in the impact this album is going to make on people's lives in a positive way. So I'm just really excited about that. And the biggest emotion I'm feeling right now is just gratitude. I got the album sitting right here next to me. It's something like a prized piece that I just keep. It's always going to be on my wall, just sitting there as something I can be really proud of. So I just feel extremely grateful, extremely blessed to be here.
You can't wait for the fans' reactions and, engaging with them. You've been doing that. You just came back from a epic tour throughout October. Have you fully recovered from that? Because that was quite the intense road trip.
As far as the 5 weeks with Rain City.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, no, that was a blast. That tour, collectively, even the whole entire tour package, it was just a nonstop theme that this has been one of the best tours that Until I Wake has ever done. And we heard the same things from most of the other bands, that it was just such a joy to be in the presence of so many positive, respectful, awesome individuals every single day. And I know there's great people on every single tour, but it just kind of felt like this tour, there was just so many opportunities for everybody to just enjoy each other's company, and there's no egos. Everybody was just very respectful. Everybody was a joy to be around. So coming back home, kind of just being able to decompress, spend time with my family. I've been working on my clothing brand and stuff a lot since I've been home. So it's been roughly around 2.5 weeks now that I've been home. So I feel like I'm finally starting to get a normal sleep schedule again. That's my biggest problem, is going to bed before 1 a.m. Because when you're on the road, it's like the show's over at 11:30. You're not in bed after the trailer's loaded, everything else is done. You're not going to sleep until 2:30 in the morning. So I'm still trying to work myself back to a normal sleep schedule, but for the most part, I'm getting back to normal.
And it's been a while since you had a 3 a.m. burger on a parking lot somewhere.
Exactly. Funny that awesome. You caught that.
Yeah, awesome. Now, it's interesting, that tour and the shows that you've played before, that shows that there are coming, lots of shows coming our way. They also act for a broader audience as the introduction for you as the new frontman, new singer to the band. Obviously, the new album is also the formal, if you will, introduction of that. It's clear you're a very positive guy, and we also get out of this album, had a chance to listen to the album already, and there is a lot of let's say that, where many other bands in your genre can get lost in the darkness, with you guys it's always a little bit more about lifting yourself up out of that darkness, if you will. So it's clear that there's a lot of positivity with you. How was that, going through that motion of being introduced to fans that have been following the band from day one? And I say this knowing that Until I Wake is still a young band at the end of the day, but somehow you guys feel like it almost feels like it's a band that has had like 2 decades of career crammed into 5 years, like with all the ups and downs that come with that. It must have been a surprise to see how this whole parting ways with the previous singer and you coming in, how many people reacted to that, how many fans were wanting to know what was going on, and I'm sure very, very emotional reactions as well at shows and when you met fans after shows. So walk me through how that experience was for you.
Yeah, at first it was very shocking to go from working my 9 to 5 desk job and playing shows for a couple people in some clubs here and there to, going across the world and
Mm-hmm.
touring Europe and being able to look at some of these colleagues as peers rather than a year ago they were like idols.
For
You're
sure, yeah.
yeah, you're sitting at home listening to these guys, and then to be able to be in the same room eating a turkey sandwich, and it's like it just feels like almost like a next level of life. It just kind of feels like, life has given me the opportunity to advance in my career, advance in my growth as a human being and my personality, and the skills that I was given and was able to develop have kind of brought me to this next level. And to have the support of all of these Until I Wake fans has just been so incredibly beautiful, because I know a lot of people lost somewhat of, uh, a rock in their life when they lost Cody, because
Right.
he was the original singer for 2.5, 3 years. So bonding with that band and then losing their frontman can be very dramatic for a lot of people. And to see the maturity that a lot of these fans have had as far as understanding and having empathy for our situation, and not only having that empathy and that understanding, but the support and the overall love that we've been given from these fans is just something that I'm incredibly grateful for. I go to sleep every night and I thank God for the fans that we have and the support that they've given us. And I know there's still a lot of fans we have to win over. I know there's a lot of people out there that are still lurking in the shadows, wishing that things were different. But I'm sure that, after they come and see us play a show, after they hear the album, after they watch this interview and they really get a chance to know who I am, it might be another opportunity for them to have a new perspective. And I'm all for it. But the overall feeling I have is just overwhelming gratitude for all of the love and the support that we've been given.
I don't want to dwell too much on the past. I'll ask one more small question about that, but in a way that's more relevant to you. Um, you mentioned Cody's, having to part ways. He's now also publicly kind of shared some updates on like, hey, I had some issues with the touring life, and he shared publicly that he had some issues with alcohol throughout his time until I wake. Um, he says that he's learned lessons from that, but for you coming into that, like you said yourself, like you were already, singing or a musician before, but now all of a sudden it's kind of like, at a different level, right? Like all of a sudden you're drafted in the NHL from, playing in my case the Southwest Ontario Hockey League, if you will. That's a different experience. Are With you coming in, do you see that the band has also learned lessons from there? Like, are people providing you with that support as well? Like, hey, we've seen how it goes wrong.
Yeah.
Let's do it differently going forward.
Yeah, so I would say most of the conversations that revolve around those kind of things are normally they're coming from me, because I don't drink. I don't do any drugs. I don't party. The whole
Hmm.
reason that I have been making music for the last 10 years is to influence people in a positive way. I
Right.
said in one of these past interviews that if I wasn't a musician, I'd be like a motivational speaker. But the whole reason that I do this is to be able to talk to these people and talk to these fans, talk to these young kids, and to be able to do that, you have to be authentic and you have to really be genuine with what you're saying. And the party lifestyle, I feel like a lot of that is so far detached from the message that I bring to the table. So as far as telling the band, as far as like, oh, we should kind of watch out for this and we should watch out for that, I think it's more or less been kind of like a known factor. Like jumping into this, we already
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
knew what this lifestyle looked like. I've been in the local scene, so it hasn't been as dramatic. But when you start going on tour with bigger bands and you're playing big festivals and there's thousands and thousands of people that really like you, they want to buy you shots, they want to hang out, they want to party, and I just give all the grace to God that I'm blessed enough to have the mindset of, even on this next level of stardom, if you want to call it, it just feels comfortable. Like it feels like I'm
Hmm.
doing what I'm supposed to be doing. We're punching the right buttons and our focus is sharp. We're not getting deterred by all the other, you know, I guess you could say like influences or the other things that might be kind of out there that could deter us from the main goal. I think we're really focused and we're staying sharp, and it's been good working with these guys. They're a great group of dudes to work with. So there really isn't many conversations about things to watch out for. It's more or less just us making sure that we're staying focused, because as long as we stay focused, we're going to keep doing what we did with this album. We're going to keep
Hmm.
crushing it. We're going to keep making waves. We're going to make fans happy. We're going to keep building those relationships with fans, and then hopefully things will just keep getting better.
What I like about this album is that, there's a lot going on, like we see with a lot of bands these days who, will fuse together very different influences and genres. Um, but somehow you guys are able to do that in a way that nothing really overpowers the other, if you will. And what I mean by that is, there's a ton of bands these days in like the new, let's call it modern metalcore, alt rock, whatever you want to call it, scene that you use a lot more electronic elements and will be easily labeled as, oh, they're pop metal or pop metal core, if you will, and everything is neon all of a sudden. You guys also use keys or orchestrations. There's hip hop, there's alternative rock, there's metalcore, but nothing really overpowers the other elements. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, my one of my close friends, he labeled me a chameleon because he said the versatility that we're able to just kind of attack with is something that he hasn't really seen before, and
Hmm.
I'm very grateful to be able to work with people like the guys in Until I Wake, like Landon Tours, because when you work with people who have that limitless mindset, like there really is no bounds to what creativity can produce, that's when you really start pushing the margin and you start doing things that are almost like a pioneer. Like we're kind of segueing from a genre or a century of music into another one right now. And you're seeing it with a lot of new bands, like not new bands, but the new album that Bring Me the Horizon just dropped. Like they just recently popped off, and Bad Omens. Like they're using a lot of different elements in their music, and I feel like that's why they're becoming so successful, is because they're not just labeling themselves
Hmm.
as a rock band, as a metal band, as a new this or whatever. They're touching on all of the things that really make them as people tick. And I think that when you make music, it's important to remember that, yeah, there is a consumer and there is a fan base, but that fan base is basically, they're following what you do. And if you don't like what you do and you don't enjoy the music that you're making and you're just kind of making the same old stuff to keep the same old fan base, you're really never going to grow that to the level that you could. And I think that one of the most important parts of making this new album was hey, is this a song that we're going to be able to listen to in 10 years from now? Is this a song that we're still going to like when the wave of this music is gone? Are we still going to enjoy this song? And I think that that's why, like you said, none of them really overpower each other because they're all just equally influenced
Hmm.
by the same idea. Make timeless music, make authentic music, and make music that we all can stand behind. And we really wanted to make an album that was just no skips. Like no songs on the album were like less or better than the other ones. We just wanted them all to be really great. And I think we did a good job at that. I think just sticking to our guns and really being versatile and trying to push the margin a little bit kind of helped that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, with this album being, to your point, a little bit more eclectic, a little bit more adventurous, a little bit more balanced than what the band has done before, um, then the title of the album also becomes a bit of a statement. You know, Renovate is interesting because, you know, when other bands go through what you guys have gone through, where a very clear lineup change and somewhat of a different direction. Some bands will say this is not a renovation. This is a new era, new chapter. We close the door on the past, if you will. You guys with Renovate, it sounds like you know there's respect for what came before. We're just bringing it to the to today's vision, if you will. Does that mean that you guys are also considering renovating some of the older stuff?
So the interesting perspective. So the title Renovate has nothing to do with the lineup. I know a bunch of people asked us about, is it some kind of shot at, renovating a lineup change or no, the whole idea of the song of the album Renovate is based around the theme of the song itself, Renovate, which is all about personal growth and like rebuilding. So, when you renovate a house, you might tear down a few walls, but you keep some there and
Mm-hmm.
you rebuild on the foundation that you had. And I think that it's really important for people to understand the concept that yes, we might have been through difficult times in our life and we might be, dealing with struggles right now, but there's always a chance if you wake up in the morning and you got your arms, your legs, your eyes, your nose, your mouth, you got a chance to live your life every single day. Every day you wake up is an opportunity to rebuild yourself into a different person, into a better version of yourself and have a great day. And I think that that is the whole concept of this album is it's not about anything to do with, renovating lineup changes or renovating anything with the band. It's more or less just the the listeners and the world itself needs renovation. People out there are holding on to past traumas, experiencing stuff like depression, anxiety, panic disorders, all somewhat revolving around past experiences. And this is coming from a personal kind of observation. It's something I feel like I have that's where inspiration from this title came from, was me holding on to a lot of things in the past that I felt like I needed to let go of. And I think this album was just kind of a walkthrough of those experiences and kind of what it was like for me to learn how to let them go and rebuild myself into the best version of myself that I feel like I can. And that's where the whole concept of the album came from, was just the title Renovate was about rebuilding from a mental standpoint rather than
Yeah, yeah,
anything to do with the band.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
As
All
far as
right.
renovating old songs out, we're probably going to keep a lot of the old songs in rotation because we know that, they are classics. Octane, Inside My Head. Some of those songs are some of my favorite songs from the band before we made this record. So, if it was up to me, I'd keep them around. And I think the fans would appreciate that too.
We will likely hear those two songs when, well, who knows, when you guys are playing Rockville in 2025. Now, you mentioned earlier in this conversation, like, yeah, it's pretty crazy to think that, a couple of years ago, the people that I'm touring with today, those were people that I, was a fan of. So the feeling going into a festival like that, where the lineup is basically a who's who of who was very popular when you were a teenager. So I can only imagine that you have to pinch yourself a few times if you're looking at all the shows that are being planned for next year. Not just that festival, but that one will stand out. Um, what can you tell us about? You're obviously going to have to promote your new album, but you know, you've got a great tour coming in Europe in the spring. You've got festivals in the summer. There's more going to come in the fall, I'm sure. I have a feeling you're going to be extremely busy in 2025.
Hmm. Yeah, as far as our schedule goes, a lot of that stuff right now is kind of under works. So we're working on a lot of different things behind the scene. As far as stuff that's actually on the calendar right now that people can go buy tickets for, I would say definitely those three festivals. Incarceration Festival hasn't been announced yet, but we are playing Ink. We're playing Rockville in Florida. So all of our friends down south, if you can make it out to that, that'd be awesome. And then we're also playing a festival in PA. We just got offered to co-headline with Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. And it's like when you said pinch yourself, it's like stuff like that that kind of just makes
Yeah,
you
yeah.
really sit there. And it has more often than not just kind of brought a tear to my eye. I'll be by myself and I'm just thinking, how did I get here? And to be able to be playing a festival, co-headlining a festival with a band that I remember days and in the car with my mom, just sitting in the back seat, listening to Red Jumpsuit on the radio, or drawing pictures in my school notebook of the Asking Alexandria logo. And
Yeah,
now
yeah,
we're
yeah.
playing Rockville with Asking Alexandria. And it's like, it just like sometimes I'm wondering, I'm like, how did I get here? But that's the beauty of, hard work and determination. Some people call it luck, but I think it's all about just timing, like, hard work and staying at something for long enough. You're bound to come across opportunities like this. And I'm just, like I said, I couldn't be more grateful to be here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Well, before all those friends go down south for that festival, all your friends have to first come end of December to Buffalo to
Yes,
the
sir.
Ironworks, which is a really, really fun, cool venue for those that have been there, where you guys will play yet again an end of the world party. Um, I mean, calling a party end of the world over and over again, clearly the world did not end, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, that special end of the year show. This is a special one. So what can we expect?
Definitely expect to hear the new album. Expect cannons shooting lots of smoke out and maybe some fire. Expect new merch. Expect just overall really good vibes. Everybody that's coming out to the show to play the show with us, all of our guys that are opening up the show are just extremely awesome individuals. And if you haven't heard of any of them and then you come to just see Until I Wake, make sure to show up to the show early to catch those guys because they do deserve that respect as well. And I think anybody who does make the trip out to Buffalo, if you're not from Buffalo and you make the trip to the show, you will not regret it. It is going to be a party. It's definitely going to be one of those shows to remember for the rest of the year, for the whole year in total. One of the best shows, I think. And as far as songs that we're playing, we're probably going to end up playing like a majority of the whole album. So it'll be a
Mhm.
chance for all these fans to kind of hear the album for the first time live.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Awesome, awesome. Well, Jolly, it will be a lot of stuff to look forward to as we're going into this album release cycle. I wish you guys the very best when it comes out in just a few weeks from now. And then I'm sure you'll have a field day with engaging with all the fans as they are sharing their experiences with you guys. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And
Yeah,
hope
thank you,
to see you on the
Jasper.
stage soon.
Yes, sir. Have a good night. Thank you.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.